I think I will have posted at least one, if not two videos in 2023 by the time you're seeing this, but it's January 1st, so I can't not say Happy New Year. Hi everyone, Rosie here. Welcome back to my channel. I'm starting a challenge right now that seemed like a really good idea last night when it was New Year's Eve and I was all excited about what I was going to read in the new year, and I had just so many books that I wanted to get to, and I said in a vlog, I think I would like to do a 7 books in 7 days challenge. And it's like lunchtime and I haven't read anything yet this year because I've been procrastinating because that seems kind of daunting in the cool, bright light of the day. But we're going to persevere. The dog is going to lose it, but that's okay. And I'm going to get started. The first book I'm going to read is Fabled Passages by Margaret Pinard. This is a short story collection, I think like speculative fiction. I actually haven't read any of Margaret's books yet, and I'm so excited to be starting with this. I think it's going to be so good, and I'm really excited to read it. So I haven't totally decided how I'm going to structure this vlog yet, but I think I will see you when I finish that book. What a delightful book to start the new year with. It is still January 1st, but I have finished Fabled Passages, and it was just really wonderful, a really varied collection of short stories. This is not one of those collections of short stories that flow together and feel like they're all sort of part of one whole. No, this is definitely a little sampler pack of all sorts of different ideas and concepts and like ways to approach speculative fiction, and they're all really interesting and they're all really wonderful. My main complaint here, as it is with so many short story collections, is just that some of them weren't long enough and I wanted more. I would have read whole books from some of these story concepts, or at least that's what it felt like reading the short stories. Don't usually know that there's a good chance authors will see my reviews, but with this one there is, so I kind of want to be like, Margaret, maybe I'm wrong, maybe an entire book about the spiders wouldn't be cool, but I think it would. And like now I kind of be like, please write that. Please write books from all of these because they're all fascinating snippets and I want to see what else they fit into. I always love when a short story makes me go, I want more. This was so good. Give me more of this. What a delightful, little first dip into Margaret's writing as well. Hopefully I will get to some of her other books later this year. For now though, I'm going to move on to my second book that I have picked out for my 7 book challenge. That is the Björkan Sagas by Harold R. Johnson. I don't fully know what this book is about, and I'm going to give you a review in literally right away your time, so I'm not going to try and sum it up. It is January 2nd and I have finished book 2. I started the Björkan Saga by Harold R. Johnson last night before bed. I got 60 pages in and was just flying through it. I thought I had a bit of a sense on this book. I wasn't sure I got it, but I was starting to feel like I had a sense on it. And then this morning I got up and read, well, throughout the day, it's late afternoon now, but throughout the day I've read the remaining 160 pages or whatever was left. It went in a totally different direction this morning, sort of maybe about quarter of the way in. It was incredible. Okay, how do I describe this? I think the best way I can describe it is, you've heard of a space opera. You're familiar with the concept of a space opera. This is not a space opera, but hold that concept of how space opera forms as a genre and think a combination of indigenous and Norse-inspired mythology in what I can only call a space saga / allegory, life wisdom. That makes it sound so complicated. It is both complicated and strange, and also a very straightforward and simple and enjoyable book to read. I absolutely loved it. It does help too that it features one of my favorite tropes, the I have found a manuscript in a box and I'm now going to relay it to you trope, where the core story of this book, the 200 central pages, would have been amazing either way. The story is just fantastic, but something about it in my brain, it is so much cooler when it is sandwiched in between that 10 pages of intro and 10 pages of epilogue of, and this is how I came to have this manuscript in my possession. I don't know why I love that trope so much, but I do, and it was expertly used here. This was such a fun book. I've enjoyed it so much. 2 for 2 now, 2 amazing books to start out 2023, and I'm so happy that I picked this up. I bought this book on a total whim in, I think, 2021. At the time, I saw it on a display in a bookstore. The description sounded cool. It was a beautiful book, so I bought it. It's been sitting on my shelves patiently for over a year now, waiting for me to pick it up, and when I did, it was just amazing. The challenge continues, and I think I seem to favor short books in physical form. So the next one I'm going to read is Feminism for the 99%, a manifesto by Cinzia Arruzza, Tithi, Bhattacharya, and Nancy Fraser. This is Feminism for the 99%, a manifesto. But really what it's about is addressing a concept and I guess a framework of feminism that is not focused on women rising to the same levels of capitalist power as men have historically. So not measuring feminist success by the number of female CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, but measuring feminist success by the actual market improved living conditions of the 99% of women who are never going to be billionaires. At least that's what my understanding of this book is before reading it. So I'm going to dive in now and let you know shortly what I find out. It's still January 2nd, and I've just finished book 3. I read all of Feminism for the 99%, a manifesto, in one sitting. It's a very, very short book. It's less than 100 pages. And it's also definitely one I'm going to want to reread. Before I get into that, let me try and describe a little bit about what it is. The title is very descriptive. It's essentially a manifesto, a series of theses laying out the author's ideas, I guess you could say, for a feminism that is not just about elevating a few privileged women to power, but about also fighting all forms of underlying injustice and oppression in society, laying out the argument for a feminism that is anti-capitalist and anti-racist and, pro-environmental protection and that sort of thing, because these are all interconnected forces that are all working to oppress the 99%, not just of women, but of all people. As I said, I really want to reread this. It was really fun to sit down and just read through in one sitting, and I enjoyed that. I'm glad I did. I've had it on my TBR for 2.5 years now or something, and I'm really excited to have finally read it. But that being said, I think this is also a book that I can get a lot more out of if I sit down 5 or 10 pages at a time with my notes and actually sit and think and reflect on what is being said at each stage instead of just flying through. Definitely one I want to revisit. I have no idea when I'm going to get to that, but hopefully not in the too distant future. I will come back to this in a bit more detail. It is now getting kind of late, so I think I'm not going to start another book today, but I feel really good. I've enjoyed the reading that I did today so much. It's felt so wonderful. And I'm 1 ahead, so I've got 5 days left, and the goal is to read 4 more books. I think I can manage this. It is January 4th, and I have finished a 4th book. This is Cold Comfort Farm by Stella Gibbons, and I have not read all of it today. I read a fair chunk yesterday and have now finished it, and I have to say, we continue to be making great choices. This was so good. I don't know how to exactly describe this book. It was published in 1931 or 32, I think, and is the story of a young woman named Flora Post who is incredibly educated, and when her parents die rather suddenly, she realizes she has every skill in the world except those with which to support herself. So she decides to go live with some mysterious relations who she has never met before on Cold Comfort Farm. What follows is this, I think, pretty much satire or comedy take on a genre of rural novels that were very, very popular through the 1920s-ish. And we've got this cast of terrible relations on this farm who are all just absolutely awful and miserable people in various ways. And Flora comes in and sort of decides that she's not going to put up with this and sets about, in her words, tidying up the farm. She, to my reading, is not exactly a less awful person always, but in a way that seems to work out. in that she is doing kind of awful, horrible things, but in a way that everyone seems, once it's done, to be kind of happy that she's done it. I don't know if that's an accurate description or not, but this was fantastic. Another one that I will definitely be rereading, not because I necessarily want to read it more closely or pay more attention to it, but just because I think it was a really enjoyable novel, and I think I will want to return to it and read it again and experience it again. I am so glad that I came across this on a discount cart outside of a used bookstore earlier this fall, because I don't think this copy had ever been read. It is in pristine condition, and I got it for $3. I have no idea why, because this edition is beautiful and this book is fantastic, and I really, really enjoyed it. I'm going to change up my pace a little bit, and my next book is going to be Tibet on Fire, Self-Immolations Against Chinese Rule by Tsering Woeser. I know virtually nothing about the situation in Tibet, so I guess I will learn a bit more and let you know how I get on with this book. We'll see how long he wants to keep his face in view. I swear he knows when I'm recording and hides his face. I guess I should probably respect his privacy, but you can see his cute softness instead while I hold the book up here. It is January 5th in the morning, quite early still. You can probably tell it's quite dark. And I have just finished Tibet on Fire, which was upside down. Oh my goodness. Another amazing choice. I feel like this challenge has been so excellent for making me finally pick up all of these short books that I was saving for something. I don't know what I was saving them for. I don't know why I hadn't read these yet, but I hadn't. They keep being such wins. So Tibet on Fire, as I said earlier, Self-Immolations Against Chinese Rule. This book covers basically what the current wave of protest by self-immolation in Tibet is, why it's arisen, and sort of a lot of the context around that. It's an older book, it's from 2016, and it basically covers the period from 2008 through 2015. So now I really want to go and read a more broad history of the situation in Tibet in general, because it's sort of touched on here, but this is really quite focused on that particular period. And I also want to go look up the author, because at least at the time of writing, it sounded like she had a blog where she was continuing to share information on this topic. So I want to know what's been going on in the 7 years since this book came out and what the situation is now. I'm not going to try and summarize all the information or the arguments or anything, because I could not do it justice. I'm just going to say that this is a short book. It's only about 100 pages of actual text. I think everyone should read it. It was so impactful. I learned so much. I was starting to say that I have a whole new understanding of the situation, but that's not accurate. Amazing as this book is, 100 pages cannot take you from zero knowledge to understanding a situation as complex as the oppression the Tibetan people are suffering under Chinese rule. But I do have a new interest or desire and need to learn more and to pay more attention to what is going on with this situation. I don't know if that conveys the sentiment of what I'm saying, but it's the best attempt I've had so far. I'm not totally sure what my next book is going to be, and I think I'm going to take a little reading break for a minute anyways, but I will probably be back with you later today or tomorrow with book number 6. It is now January 7th, which means we are on the 7th day of this challenge, and I have just finished book 6. This is Narrow Boat by Tom Rolt. It was originally published in 1944, and this edition is a 70th anniversary edition from 2014 that I picked up secondhand this fall. It is an account of the author and his wife's journey around the canals of England in 1939-1940 on a traditional narrowboat, also not a traditional cargo carrying boat. This one has been retrofitted to be, a comfortable passenger boat. Think RV, not semi-truck with a trailer attached. I thought this was going to be a quicker read than it was. It was still pretty short, but very cheap with its page numbers. There's a whole bunch of photos and stuff, and they just didn't get page numbers, which I thought was kind of cheating. But it did also have some beautiful art. Let's see if I can open it up and show you. So had beautiful black and white illustrations or woodcuts or lino cuts, I don't know what exactly they are, throughout, and also a whole bunch of photographs. It's been an interesting read. I liked it, but I didn't love it. This is a bit of breaking our streak here. Given the time when Rolt went on this journey and then wrote this book, he's really observing and mourning the decline of the English countryside and the creeping encroachment of suburbs and cities and industrialization and the loss of traditional crafts and qualities of product and that sort of thing. It's both really interesting and also kind of frustrating at times. I found there was a heavy element of, yes, all of this is lovely when you're on what is seemingly just like a year-long tour around the country in a boat trip with, a lovely renovated boat that's got all the modern comforts, and you're mourning the loss of the way of life where people are living entire families in a, 8-by-7-foot room on a boat, all of them actively working to support the family. And it sort of goes, yes, there are things that are being lost with this industrialization, and I'm sure not everyone would agree that it was an improved quality of life, but it feels a bit easy to say what a loss it is when you're not the one living that. And also, there is a lot of just what I would call, period typical racism, classism, that sort of stuff. Not super heavily, not in a that was the point of the book way, just sprinkled through enough that you'll be reading along and go, oh, right. This book was incredibly interesting for what it was, but it wasn't a book that I absolutely loved. But it did very, very much make me want to go on a vacation on this sort of boat, and it does sound absolutely delightful. I was going to try and read one more novella this week. I had that sort of planned out in my head, but I didn't read Narrowboat quite as fast as I thought I would, and that's okay. I had some other stuff to get done. I had some errands out of the house yesterday and some just things to get done around the house today. And 6 books in 7 days still feels like such a win. I enjoyed 5 of them immensely, and all of them at least to some degree. So what a great way to start the year. I've read 6 books that I've been excited about and have been hanging around on my TBR for quite a while, and some new ones. I only picked this up this fall. It was a really nice way to sort of blitz through some really great reads and start off the year on such a strong note. So I'm so glad that I gave this a go. Let me know down below in the comments. Have you ever tried a challenge like this? How did it go? Was it fun? Is it something you would think you would do again? I don't think I want to do a 30 books in 30 day challenge after doing this, but I would try another 7 in 7. I think that could be fun again. For now, though, I think I'm gonna go pick up a slightly longer book and not try and finish it in a day. If you like this video, make sure you leave a like down below. If you would like to see more of my videos, make sure you hit subscribe, and thank you for watching.